Welcome back to another episode of the Walking Towards Light podcast. I'm your one and only host, Walker Williams, and this is a place where you can learn, you can grow your consciousness, and you can be your best self. It's been 1 year. Come on now. 1 year of the Walking Towards Light podcast. It's a celebration. Give it up. Come on. We gotta get some claps. You gotta be clapping. If you're listening, you gotta be clapping right now. This is big. This is major. I don't even know what to say. Before we get into it though, I hope y'all are having a wonderful week so far. I hope y'all feel good. I hope you getting the things that you need to get done. I hope your energy feels pure. You feel love on the inside. Because I do right now. Because I'm just ecstatic. And I feel like the feeling is surreal. It's like, damn, time has flown. Time really flew by, literally. And I feel like it was only right for us to reflect on this year and talk about everything. Talk about everything that I've experienced podcasting, being an independent podcaster, and the things that I've learned the most. I feel like it's so crazy because last week I was like thinking about what I was going to talk about this week, and then I had the thought of like, hold up, it's October. Literally, I'm like, oh shit, my 1 year. I'm like, oh shit, my 1 year is coming up. That's exactly what we can talk about. And honestly, I know that my last 2 episodes has kind of been, a little heavy, a little deep. It's really been, you had to come into those last 2 episodes with a open mind and a open heart. So I think this episode is perfect right now. We're on episode 29, and I think it's talking about this year on podcast. It's very light. It's very easy on the mind, easy for the ears, and we can have some fun and some good times, some good laughs, and that's just perfect. But let's get into the episode. Let's talk about it now. I feel like we should take it all the way back to the beginning because, like, as I reflect on everything, I think the most thing when I was thinking about just everything in totality, I feel like I went all the way back because for the people who might not know or who don't really know all of me, I know I'm very candid and I'm very open on this podcast, but I feel like there are layers that I forget to say or I leave out, not on purpose, but just it don't fit in the moment. But I feel like somehow the end goal was supposed to be here. Talking to y'all, being a vessel of light with my voice and with the love that's inside of me. When I look back and I think of the patterns of my life, which I feel like everybody, if you really look within yourself, you really look back in history, you will see patterns in your life that constantly shows up. I feel like if you really become aware, you start seeing these signs are actually pulling you towards your purpose, towards the I would say the ultimate thing that you're supposed to be doing here. And I would say early on, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I know I talked about this before, but I think I wanted to bring this back just to start this off. But it's like I didn't know what I wanted to do. I always knew that I just wanted to be an entertainer at first. That was the goal for me. I wanted to be an entertainer. But then as I grew older, it started having layers to it. Like it was like I knew I wanted to. At first it started off very like entertainment wise, like in a sense of comedy. I was doing skits, right? For those people, if anybody that's still here that follow my YouTube from my older YouTube days, know that I used to do funny videos and I used to do skits and I used to do reactions. And even before I went on YouTube, right, I was doing Instagram. I was making videos on Instagram and on Twitter. Videos was going crazy on Twitter and stuff like that. And I found myself wanting to be in that lane, right? But then as I got older, I think I start growing more knowledge and wisdom. But also at that time, I remember even in college, my major was communications. And I think the reason why I chose communications was I knew that if I wasn't an entertainer, I felt like the thing that I could rely on or fall back on, even though I don't believe in plan Bs, was being a radio host. Right? It's crazy. Right? So, because I think even back then I knew I always had and I was thinking about this early this week. I was thinking about how even early on, I loved watching interviews when I was younger. I still love watching interviews. That would never change, but I love watching, and I think when I'm thinking deeply about why, I feel like it was more of just like, it's the banter, it's the back and forth, it's the interviewer like picking whoever they're interviewing mine, and I'm watching like how the questions that the person asking and the conversations that they're having, and all of those things intrigued me. And I used to love watching, like I'm telling you, I used to watch YouTube and I used to watch interviews all the time, Breakfast Club interviews, because before podcasting became a thing, it was really more tuned to radio. So you had to watch like Hot 97 with Funk Flex, or you had to watch Breakfast Club, Charlamagne, DJ Envy, and Angela Yee. What was another radio? A popular radio show. I'm probably forgetting some, but you know what I'm trying to say. But all of those things like was very popular, and I used to love watching them. But I never thought I would end up at this time doing something like this, because I saw myself being more of like, it's so crazy when I was young, it was more of wanting to be like a celebrity, wanting to be like a singer or comedian or actor or model. I just think the spiritual journey is what added because when the spiritual journey came, shout out to the Spiritual Awakening podcast, the episode. If y'all remember that, if you watched it, shout out to you. But yeah, I feel like once the spirituality came in, it added. So I feel like once I started getting on my spiritual journey, all of those things shifted, and I didn't know what I wanted to do anymore. I was having success with reacting on YouTube. I said this on the first podcast that I made. And then the spiritual aspect was like, it put me on pause. Like, hold up. This is what I'm in love with, but I don't know how I can turn this into something that's impactful and that can last a long time. And I feel like it was the integration of everything I've learned and the embodiment of everything I learned through my spiritual journey, which it just made sense to probably around 2023, 24, that gotta make sure my mic's still working. It just made sense to talk about these things. Like I just felt like from all the deep wisdom that I was learning, I'm like, I have to get this out. Because all the things that I'm feeling, all the things that I'm accessing, I feel like people need to hear this. And I'm thinking about this too. I feel like in the podcast world, there's not too many men that look like me. Not in the podcast world, because there are a lot of people that look like me, but in the category that I'm in this spiritual podcast world, that's where there's not too many people that look like me. You have the Jay Shettys of the world. You have the Lewis Howes of the world. You have there's a guy named Andre who do wonderful podcasts, right? But you don't have somebody that's a black man that's talking about these deep spiritual topics. And I noticed that, and I saw that, and I was like, I feel like that spot is for me. Like, let me be the voice for my people. Let me be the voice for the collective with a new perspective. Being a black man from Memphis who had a spiritual awakening and want to be a part of the shift in consciousness. Like, you don't see that normally. And I realized that. And I think it's the strong urge to literally follow something, because that sense of purpose came into my conscious probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I can pull up old pictures of me saying and me speaking out into the universe about how I'm going to start a podcast, probably like in 2020, 2019. Like, I was telling people I'm going to start a podcast. And that's how you know how strong the urge was for me, because I never let that go. I never let that thought go. I never let that ideal go for myself. It was more of like timing for me. And I know it's like, you shouldn't wait on things, and I know that you should, but I just feel like everything aligned for the podcast exactly when it aligned. Because, like, looking back, like, if I would have started my podcast last year, not last year, but the year before that, when I was at my other apartment, like, the lighting was different in the crib. It was just, the energy was different. I feel like, and it's funny too, my locks was baby as shit too. See, that's another thing. That's another thing y'all don't know. I was like, that was a part of my plan. I'm like, I'm not starting my podcast with no baby locks. We can't do that. Like, I didn't want to be on here with no small locks, because I don't know. I was just like, I'm gonna wait till my locks get a little bit longer. Then we gonna be ready. We gonna be ready for the world then. Let my locks grow a little bit longer. And I mean, hold up. Look at your boy now. The length is crazy. But yeah, I'm bullshitting. But yeah, I just feel like everything lined up perfectly for me to be in this position, but also just the work beforehand of starting this podcast. Just to sacrifice me buying my camera. Like, I made sacrifices. I had to buy this nice camera, this nice Sony. This is I use a Sony ZV E10, and I bought the lens with it at the same time, which is expensive. It's expensive, but I believed in myself, and I bought my computer around that same time. So it's like, how much do you believe in yourself? How much are you willing to go for your dreams? And even though I spent a crazy amount of money with these investments, I knew that my purpose was so strong that it was still going to pay off in the long run. I knew if I make this sacrifice for myself right now, that in this is an investment that's actually is good for me. This is an investment that is going to hold me accountable. Because one thing I said, I'm not paying for this camera, and you think I'm not finna record no podcast. That's insane. I'm not finna spend $1,000+ on with the $1,000+ with the camera and the lens together. I'm not doing that, and I'm not going to record anything. What I look like? We ain't spending money for fun. No way. No, I'm like, now that I bought this, I'm going to make sure I record 100+ podcasts because I'm getting my money's worth out of this investment, right? End up getting the lens. I mean, not the lens, but the camera stand, the camera tripod. I couldn't think of the thing, but the tripod, the light, all of these things, and even everything was so intentional with this podcast. I never said that too, but my whole apartment, I feel like not just everything was catered towards the podcast, because I feel like I love a space that feels like home, that feels like a sanctuary, that feels like peace and tranquility. But my pictures, the couch, all of that was intentional for the podcast. Not just for the podcast, but it played a part too, because all of this, I feel like I wanted the vibe to match what I was talking about. I wanted, like, my beautiful plant right here, Zenny. All of these things are intentional for the podcast, but that's how much I believed in this. That's how much I believed in what was my purpose, right? But it's like, I feel like a lot of people, it's the, how much do you believe in your purpose though? That be the thing, because I'm looking back now and there could have been moments to where I was like, but will it really work? Will it really work though? Right? But it's not about that. It's like, you create your reality. You create every single thing. All of this is a part of this creation that happened here first. Literally, it wouldn't have been here if I didn't follow with action. It would have just stayed in here. A lot of times we have dreams and things we want to do, but it stays in your mind. When you have the power to bring it into reality, and everything that you're seeing is something that I believe so hard that I follow with action, and now you see it. And that's what's so, I feel like this podcast has beautifully challenged me in a lot of different ways too, right? We can talk about that. Like, looking back, this, like I said, it's sacrifice. It's one of the words that come up the most with my podcast is sacrifice. Like, because in the midst of this economy and your responsibilities and the 3D world, like, are you willing to still go for it? Because all of these things can weigh you down. All of these things can hold you back or make you pause, which actually there was moments where I paused and took a break. But I feel like that is one of the things that has helped me so much through my podcast journey, because it's like, regardless of if I'm struggling or I need time off, I never stopped. Yeah, I might take a break or two for myself, for my health, but I feel this so much in my soul of what I'm doing for the collective that I'm never going to stop. Right? And I think it's the juggle between the 3D and the 5D, right? I always say that I have 3D responsibilities. You have a 3D job, right? That can hold your responsibilities, your expenses, your bills, and all that. All of that shit is 3D. This podcast right here, this is what you call 5D, because it is immersed in love. It's immersed in just intention and purpose and just my heart, right? So that is 5D work right there. That's what I'm doing. So it's like there's a balance between the 5D and the 3D. That's what's going on. And I'm willing to sacrifice. I feel like this year has been the most year that I've sacrificed, because I feel like the most thing that I've learned of, I had to work hard. Like, this year I've been working the most that I ever had to work in terms of just my 3D job, right? So it's like there has been moments to where I overworked myself and didn't have energy for my podcast, but it's like I sit and think and I'm like, my purpose is bigger than this, all right? It's like it's bigger than this. I can't stop. I can't just give up now, because in my heart, my purpose is so solidified. I can't do that. I can't do that for me. I can't do that for the people that will be that feel my words, that feel, that is going to actually, my podcast is going to help in whatever years, right? And that's why I don't stop. That's why I'm going to continue to be consistent, because I feel this podcast within me so much, and the meaning of it, right? To me, my life, and for what it's going to do for the collective and people. I can't never stop. And I know that this sacrifice that I'm making is going to pay off in the long run. So, and I think, and that's another thing, that's a good segue, because I feel like also another thing is that I had to learn with this year of like pacing, right? And this is good, because a lot of times when you start something, when you're working on your purpose and it's something that you really feel in your heart that you're meant to do, sometimes you can get caught into the wanting things to blow fast, or wanting things to ignite so fast. But it's like, and that's one thing that I had to learn, because, my views and all these things, it fluctuates. Like, my YouTube views is low, but it's like, am I going to let that really stop what I'm doing? Because all of those things, I feel like every single thing you do, even if it's slow, even if it's not growing like how you would want to, everything that you're doing, you're putting in seeds, right? Those are seeds. So it's like the more work that you do, the more like strength you get with your voice, or with whatever you're doing. You get more just resilient. You get more stronger. You get all of these things. And a lot of times that actually be what is helping you get prepared to when that moment comes, when that blow up comes, when that overnight success comes. People always say it's like people are working hard. It's never really an overnight success, because you don't see that. You don't see all of that, those long no sleep nights. You don't see all of that just struggle and that sacrifice that people make. Then when it actually it looks like an overnight success, but you don't see all the things that came before it, right? And I feel like even with this situation with me, I feel like there has been so much love and support that I felt with my podcast, right? And the thing is, sometimes I've had that struggle of like, I'm thinking about like, damn, my video did this amount of views, or that, or this video flopped, right? But it's like, what if your shit blew up faster than you was actually ready for it to actually blow up? What if you actually needed these moments of just putting the work in, right? Planting the seeds, right? To get you ready, to get you stable enough so when it does come, you're ready. You actually have the toughness, right, to handle the growth that is happening for you. Because if you come into a game or whatever you're doing and you expect it to just explode after 2 videos, are you going to be really ready for that? Because if that happens so fast, and then if you get one video that explodes and everybody's coming to you, everybody asking for shit, everybody wants you to be here, wants you to be there, and you're like, whoa, like I just started. I don't even know if this is actually what I really want to do. Now you being asked to do 100 different things. Now you're not ready, right? What if that needs to happen that way? What if this is why it's having perspective and having different ways to look at life will literally shift it. Because now when I look at my videos, I'm not getting frustrated or I'm not feeling some type of way, I'm actually like, okay, like the people that's supposed to see it will see it. The people that's supposed to feel my words and resonate with my words right now will feel it. That is following with your passion, not worrying about the what comes after it. What comes after it is out of your control. The only thing you can focus on is your passion and your love for what you're doing. Because I said this before, it's like if you only focusing on the results, do you really love what you're doing? And that is something that stays with me. So it's like if you love what you're doing, regardless of what it does, you're going to keep doing it because you truly love it. And that's exactly where I'm at. Like, and I want to speak on all the love that I've received and all of the support that I've received so far from my podcast. Like, I have a lot of thoughts during my days of just thinking about like how rich that I am now to be in a space to where I have a platform that's full of love, that's full of just growth and helping people just be lighter and give different perspectives to people in this world. I think I'm rich with the thought of people actually receiving my words and actually feeling them, right? And being impacted by that, regardless of whatever number it is of people that resonates. Is that the purpose and the thing that makes me the most happiness is being received. So therefore, I'm rich. It don't matter the number. It's the fact that I'm living in my purpose, right? I'm living in my truth and people are feeling that. So I'm very grateful for everybody who have supported me so far on this journey. It has definitely been a fucking journey. And people always, and we got to do this, like people always focus on the people that's not supporting you. We got to focus on the people that's actually supporting us. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you might get mad because you feel like there's people that should support you and you could get focused on that, or that could like fuck up your mood or this, that. Like, don't focus on that. Focus on the people that's actually showing up for you. Focus on the people that's actually being there, because 9 times out of 10, the people that's not there right now are going to be there when your shit is going great and everything is happening for you. Then that's when they gonna pop up. It's a crazy thing of how that fucking works. You know, the people that you expect to support you don't support you. But then when they see other people supporting you with thousands of other people, and that's when they want to come in and be like, oh, I always love what you're doing. You're doing such great things. And da 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 da. Which I feel like all of these thoughts is thoughts that I process. I feel like the people that's closest to you it's not out of malice. It's just that the idea that they have of you, they can't really see what you're doing because of their idea that they have of you, because they know you before whatever that you're trying to do. So it's easier for strangers and for people who don't even know you to support you and to be your biggest fans, because they don't have no pre-idea of who you are and what you're doing. Like, they see you, they see your content, they fuck with what you're talking about or what you're doing or your music or whatever, and they support that. That's why the people that don't know you gonna always be your biggest fans first. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people that are friends. I have people that's in my closer circles and that's around me that support my stuff, and I highly appreciate that. I'm sending out so much gratitude, and people that support me, best believe I support the people that support me. If you support me, you gonna feel all of my support back, and that's how I always operate. And I'm always the person that's going to gas you up. I love gassing people up with what they're doing and what they got going for, because people need that. And that's the thing, is like focusing on the people that is showing up for you. All the other people gonna come around later. That's just how it's worked. Unfortunately, that's just the reality. And once you accept and just change your focus to the people that's actually there, you ain't gonna be thinking about that shit. You ain't gonna think about that shit. But Somebody dog went crazy. But that's a thing that I would be thinking about, because I just think that it's so funny how that just naturally happens. Like I said, I don't think it's out of malice. I just think that it's like psychological. It's like psychological. Um, but I definitely want the people that's listening and that the people that support me the ultimate gratitude for everybody who has participated in my podcast, people who have shared my podcast, people who have reposted it, people who have liked, right? We done had so many great moments, I feel like, on social media so far in this year, right? even the one recently about talking about unconditional and the difference between a unconditional God and a conditional God, right? As controversial that sounds, I feel like it was very effective, and it reached a lot of people. I mean, I was so happy about that. I said that on the last episode, but I was so happy about that clip going crazy because it got like 31,000 views, and I feel like the engagement in the comments wasn't just so like negative. It was more of like conversation. It was more of like, it was a healthy back and forth. Cause I'm not with all of the like, when you're, one thing I'm gonna say this, we can disagree or we can have different perspectives, but I'm never going to make you feel bad for your perspective. I'm never doing that. Like, I'm never going to call you dumb. I'm never going to call you an idiot. I'm never going to call you stupid. Because I just feel like that's ineffective for a conversation or differences or, agree to disagree type shit. Like, I don't feel like that's really necessary. It only like creates more like friction. It's not really like, I feel like we can disagree, but I don't want to make you feel bad for your beliefs. I don't want to make you feel bad for our differences. I can say I disagree with you, or I can speak my piece, but I'm not going to make you feel lesser than for believing whatever you believe in. That, I don't feel like that's effective for conversation or actually getting anywhere. I see that, I peep that all the time on social media, and I'm not a fan of that. Even if I agree with somebody's shit on TikTok and they're having a think piece, if they're on that clip talking like calling people stupid or dumb for that, I'm not going to support, because it's just like, that type of rhetoric, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that type of rhetoric. So I believe to respect everybody, respect everybody's beliefs, And I think once you do that, the energy behind that is like, damn. And that's the point and intention behind even just that post that, blew up. It's just that I think when you respond with people with calmness and respect, yeah, they might disagree with you, but they gonna be like, damn, dude actually feel cool. Like, he actually feel like he didn't like, there's an energy behind that. There's a state of like, this person is not trying to argue with me. This person is actually trying to just get me to understand. And I think that changes the energy of that conversation. So that video, that shit made me so happy, because that was definitely a milestone moment for the podcast, because I just feel like, I'm like, damn, I have a lot of my videos has went crazy on social media, but I haven't had a video with my takes or with me talking about something that I'm passionate about actually reach people, and it did. And I'm like, damn, like that shit felt good. It felt really good in my heart. But like I said, all the people that has been guests on the podcast, I thank y'all all the time. We got so many beautiful guests on with so much beautiful perspectives. What I want to do, I know I'm gonna do this at the end too, but it's on my mind right now. Please drop a comment below of what was your favorite episode of the Walking Towards Light podcast so far. Which one was your favorite? And I feel like for me, my favorite had to be like, all of my episodes are like my babies. Like I'm a exclude my guest podcast because all of those are my favorite. Every single one of them are my favorite. Um, if I had to choose one by myself, I feel like my love podcast, because I feel like that's going to be a podcast that really sticks around. I feel like people are going to look back at that video one day and be like, damn, like I feel this. Like I feel this. Like I feel this video. Like even when I rewatch it, it's just that shit, I feel it. I'm like, damn. Because love is such an important thing for me. And I feel like, no, we're gonna get to that. I was about to say something. We got questions to answer. We're gonna get to that. But yeah, I think this has been so much of a beautiful journey. One thing I definitely want to talk about is this is my manifesto. This is what I want to say the most, is that like in the next year, I feel like I want my podcast to grow. I want my podcast to be a household name. That's the number one thing. To be in this space, to have these conversations and bring this stuff to light. Which a lot of times I do talk about heavy things. I do talk about esoteric things, which I feel like is a missing piece in the podcast world. Right? Even with the spiritual community, I feel like as a black man, somebody that's talking about esoteric subjects, talking about death, talking about fear, talking about just all of these things, aliens, ancient civilizations, health with alkaline diets and all of these things, I just feel like it's a blend. Astrology, there's a blend. There's a lot of things that I could bring to this world, and I feel like being a household name is something that I dream about. Definitely, I have a shit ton of list. I have a I have a long list of people and guests that I want on my podcast this upcoming year. Shit. There's a lot to name. I want Billy Carson on the podcast, right? I can reach for the stars of the guests that I want. Sadhguru, I want to talk to them all. I would love to have these sit downs with everybody. Janae Aiko, that's a dream guest too. Janae Aiko, for sure. Big Sean, for sure. Come on, we going definitely Omarion. We gotta get Omarion. I feel like Omarion would be a good guest to have on the podcast. But a lot of spiritual philosophers, a lot of just like we gon' get there. I believe that with consistency, I can do anything. Hold up, water break. And so far, I feel like I'm looking on my, if we was to look on, let's see how much we have done this year so far. I would love to bring up some stats to see where we at. Let's see. Oh, wow. So, let's talk about this. This is crazy. This is crazy. So far in 1 year, we have did 466 streams on all platforms. My top 10 episodes, the number one episode is my first ever episode. The first 3 episodes had the most gas for sure. My Magic Mushroom podcast is at number 4. The one with Soul Glow, 5. Love is Everything at 6. So, I mean, 466 streams in a year, that deserve claps. Come on now. Yeah. No, I'm so grateful for that. Like I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for just everything, for all the people who watched on YouTube, for everybody who has supported my podcast page on TikTok. It got over 10,000 likes on TikTok. I am super grateful. That is the most, like, I don't care how small. Like, that's one thing that people get caught up into. I said something similar to this earlier, but it's like people get caught into like numbers and one of these big numbers, but it's just like somebody put it in perspective that I seen that it stuck with me. It's like you get 100 viewers or you get 100 listeners, and social media has fucked up our minds so much. It's like you might feel like that's bad, but put 100 people in your fucking home. You're gonna be like, what the fuck? Hold up. What the hell? All of y'all get out right now. It's too crazy. You put 100 people in your house or 100 people standing outside your crib right now, you'll be like, it is too many damn people in my front yard right now. Right? But psychologically, social media has fucked us up so much that we think 100 viewers is bad. When you put in perspective, damn, that's a lot of people. So be happy for wherever you at, because even if it's 50 people or 40 likes, 50 likes on your content, that's a start. I'm grateful for every single thing. For everybody who has subscribed, everybody who has followed, everybody who has supported. Thank you so much on this journey. I'm very appreciative. Now, we got some quick fire questions. All right, I'm gonna try to make sure I answer these quick. I'm not gonna make them long. All right, we got 5 questions. I think 5 questions, and we gonna get into the end of the show. Hold up. All right, the first question is, how much has your voice changed since your first episode? I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I don't want to go back and look at my first episode. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like my voice has changed a lot. I think just the comfortability behind the mic has grown sufficiently. We're 29 episodes in. When we first started off, if you was to watch that episode, I feel like, and I don't think I ever said that first episode was first take. I didn't even do multiple takes. I just literally was like, fuck, I'm finna start. Let's do it. And whatever that ended up being said on that podcast there was no editing. So where it was edits like mess ups or like shit like that. But just I didn't record it multiple times. It was just a one time go. And I was like about to put it out. So I feel like it's definitely improvements with just the comfortability behind the mic with everything that how I speak, just the confidence, all of those things. I feel like just now it's more of a flow state type with where I'm at now. All right, this is a good question. Hold up. It says, how do you stay inspired when real life gets heavy? And I kind of answered that early on in the podcast, but I feel like when your purpose is strong enough, that oversees everything. Like I just feel like for me, I'm the type of person that I'm never stopping. I don't give a fuck I don't give a fuck how hard life gets. When I have my mind on something that I want to get done, regardless of what's going on in life, like I said earlier, I might pause or I might break, but I'm never going to stop. And the thing is, how do I stay inspired is because I know confidently that this is my purpose. This is why I'm here. So it's like, I can't stop, right? Even if it get heavy or responsibilities comes in, it's just like, even when I have moments of like contemplation and just thinking about life, I'm just like, regardless of what it is, I can't stop. Because if I stop doing this, it's like I'm not being who I am and what I'm here to do. So it's just really about knowing your purpose and knowing how important my purpose was. So it's like, even if times get rough, that always stayed right here in my heart, to never let that go. Because a lot of times early on, like if there was something that I liked doing, but it wasn't really my purpose, I could stop doing it and never come back to it. But this is something that I can't stop doing and just leave it alone and just move on to something else. No, this is it for me. It's the knowing of that purpose. My advice will be, just think about, I feel like the most thing for me, I can talk about just how I think about my most fear. The thing that I fear the most is regretting not doing what I feel, right? I imagine myself as an old person thinking back and like, damn, I should have did this. Damn, I wish I would have listened to myself. When I put myself in the perspective of my older self, I'm like, I can't let that person down. And I think just the ideal of not going for it, that literally is the driver for me, because it's like, I'm just going to not try. I'm not going to just see if it works and to see how the feeling of doing it would do, or I'm just going to just give up on myself and not even know what it feels like. Right? I think there's a thing with me of just that thinking of regret. I don't want to regret anything in life. And I feel like you will have more gratification of going all out for your dreams or starting your podcast rather than regretting not even trying. I want to ask the person or anybody who's watching this is, which one would you rather have? Would you rather live with, you can look back and say, damn, I actually went for my dream. Yeah, it might not worked, but I went for it. I'm happy with that. Or would you want the other reality where you like, damn, I never even tried. I never actually put in the work to see if this could work for me. I just didn't believe in myself. I wasn't confident enough. Which one do you literally sit with that? Which one really sits with you the most? Like, would you want to live with that regret, or would you actually want to see for yourself? Like I said, you could fail. Like, things cannot work. But I would rather live with it not working than live with never even going for it. A lot of people have lived their full lives with limiting themselves of their possibilities. I would never be that person, and I don't want you to be that person, because we are limitless. You just have to believe in that. Have to believe in yourself, because if something fails or something don't work out, guess what? You can try again. Or, it can redirect you to something else that's actually for you. But you ain't gonna never know until you do it. I've been podcasting independently, right? I've been podcasting independently by myself this whole year. Everything that I do, from the visuals, the audio, from editing, putting the clips out on all social medias, I'm doing a 5-man's job. I'm doing, people actually have teams for people to do every single thing that I'm doing by myself. That's how much I believe in my dream and what I'm doing. Hey, and if it don't work out, which it's going to work out because this is what I'm here to do. But it's like, I would never regret, right? That's why it's like, just like Kobe. Kobe's like, I can't never, like, I don't have no regrets because I gave the game my all. I gave the game everything in me. I don't have no regrets about anything that I did and how I went, because I gave all of me to it. And I feel like whatever you want to do, that podcast that you want to start, that dream you want to start, do it. because I want you to go for it. I'd rather you go for it and then see rather than you don't see it all and don't even know. And then you sitting, you got that heaviness of you just never doing it on your chest. That's not the way you want to go. That's not the life you want to live. All right. Okay, this is the last question. This is the last question here. Okay. Which episode was the most slept on episode? I ain't gonna lie, I got a lot of them. I feel like sometimes episodes come on and I be watching them and I just be like, damn. But I think that's the importance of, I feel like there's a lot of slept on episodes that I feel like people are going to go back to. Right? But I feel like, to name a few, I feel like shit. I feel like my astrology episode was slept on for sure. It's a lot of gems in that episode about astrology, Vedic astrology, which I know a lot of people not really on right now, but I think that's definitely a sleeper. It's long, but I just feel like it's a lot of information in that video. I feel like the It's Life a Dream episode is a sleeper because there's a lot of good shit in that episode too. I mean, shit, I can keep naming. There's a lot of sleepers on my podcast episodes, man, that I feel like is going to be looked back. And that's another thing too. I feel like a lot of things that I could be that podcaster that always try to go for a controversial clip or a viral clip, but it's like, I think it's more when you build something with intention and purpose and love, it might take a little bit longer than trying to go for something that is quick and microwave, right? You're trying to build something that is long lasting, that people can feel through lifetimes. It might not happen that fast. I can get on here and say a whole bunch of bullshit that get people triggered and get people mad or angry, and it be gone the next week or the next month. But it's like, I feel like the energy that's being built behind this podcast is something that people are going to find years down the road and be like, damn, like, so much gems and so much, like, love and intention behind this podcast. And I think that's the beauty of this podcast, this platform. Like, I think about my kids. I think about the people that's going to live after me. They going to have all of these, like I said, I put a tweet out about this, but it's just like, it makes me feel so good that my family and my kids that I will have, they are going to be able to go back and watch all of this amazing content in all of my journey, and they'll be able to watch and see my growth and see the things I was talking about and hear the things I was talking about and be able to say, damn, look at dad, like, and be able to see everything that I've learned and what we was talking about and just the knowledge, the wisdom, the way of living, the love, like, they are going to be able to experience with their own eyes. And not even just my kids, but just people down the road, down the line, right? It's bigger than me. And I think the impact that I want to leave on this world, I want that to last forever. I want the words, the energy, the intention to be felt through lifetimes. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And that's one of the things that I feel like has stuck with me. Even though in my early ages about me talking about wanting to be an entertainer, a celebrity, all these things, I knew I wanted to make impact. And I feel like knowing that I'm a Life Path 6, knowing my astrology chart, all those things, is that I feel like I'm supposed to make impact, but something that's healing and loving to the world and to humanity, to where people can really grow and actually be better, right? And that means the most to me. That's why I be like, I'm not living my life in vain. I'm happy right now. I'm rich right now because I'm living deeply and truly in my purpose. I don't have no regrets on my life. I don't have no, like, the space that I'm in right now. It's like, I'm definitely happy because what I'm putting out to this world would be remembered, would be heard, and it would be access to people through lifetime. So that's what matters to me the most, and I feel like that's why I'm here. So yeah, we reached the hour, so we can wrap this thing up. We can wrap it up. This was a yap. I wanted to have a podcast where we just yap, and I wanted to talk about things that just came up and we reflect on this year. Like I said, I'm so grateful for all of my supporters, all the people that tune into this episode, not just this episode, but just my podcast in general. Thank you everybody for the feedback, the love that y'all send me, the people who watch, the kind words and the loving words that I've been hearing and feeling from y'all. I really appreciate it. Let's keep growing. We 1 year down. I can't wait to see where we're going to be year 2, because I feel like we on some shit. The trajectory is getting crazy. I feel it. I feel it in my bones. But I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Happy week, a fulfilling week, a joyful week, everything and more. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, comment, turn on them notifications. Make sure you rate 5 stars on the Spotify platforms, the Apple platforms, the Amazon, the iHeartRadio, whatever platform you're listening on. I will highly appreciate that. And make sure you leave them comments down below of your favorite moments of this podcast. What is something that you learned through the podcast, some reflections, some insights that you have gained from watching this podcast? I would truly, truly be grateful for it. Thank you so much. And that's it, everybody. I'll see y'all next Wednesday. We out.